So we just got a new trailer yesterday for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's Teal Mask and Indigo Disc DLC, and with it plenty of new characters and story hints for these intriguing adventures that'll expand the lore of the Paldea games. However, what I found most interesting as usual was the introduction of 3 new Pokemon. Well, 4 technically, but we're not talking about Iron Crown, sorry. However, the other 3 are truly some of the most interesting Pokemon that we've gotten in quite some time, and they offer some interesting insights when you consider their inspirations. First up, the good paradox, Raging Bolt, a prehistoric reimagining of Raikou, now as a sauropod dinosaur giraffe thing? If you're a viewer of this channel, you already know what I think of these dinosauric renditions of these legendary beasts, which I theorize confirms the existence of an infinite multiverse of Pokedexes, since these were perhaps pulled from an alternate timeline in which mammalian life evolved differently, perhaps directly from reptilian body plans, and the beasts were part of that as canine or feline Pokemon, rather than being instantly reincarnated or incarnated as legendary gods by Ho-Oh. That way it doesn't disrupt how we understand biological branches of life in our Pokemon world, nor the fan-favorite theory of these beasts being created by Ho-Oh. But hey, paradox is in the name, so if you want to disregard everything I said and embrace that contradictory nature of paradox Pokemon, well, that's fine too. Anyway, I also love the fact that this tall boy is based on a Brontosaurus, as many have long speculated through fan art of their own. For those unaware, Bronto in Greek means thunder. Why did paleontologists call this animal that? I don't know, but it's a perfect reference when the literal Thundercat legendary Pokemon is turned into a thunder lizard of its own, with its neck now culminating in a ring-like mane that resembles a thundercloud, which I can really appreciate even if it biologically does look pretty goofy. Now, was I the only person who thought Diplin was a variant of Applin for nearly the entire presentation? Just me? Okay, well, this is a 3rd evolution of Applin now, yet another grass dragon type, which is both expected and a bit surprising, given that we see this Pokemon spewing some type of syrupy substance in both a speed-lowering signature move and an evasiveness-lowering signature ability, so a major emphasis on that candy apple origin, which I think could have been fine as a poison dragon or poison grass type, but I can respect keeping the same typings as before, since to my knowledge, this line now joins the Hitmons as the only split evolution trio to all boast the same exact type. And if anything, this Pokemon doubles down on its dragon origins, with now 2 Pokemon inhabiting the apple, as it says the head is one creature whereas the tail is another. Perhaps one worm is attracted to the taste of the fruit, whereas the other values the syrup. Or perhaps the fruit having that syrup coating is enough sustenance to now provide for 2. Yet again, it begs the interesting question, how do these count as one Pokemon? More and more, it seems like Pokemon like Dugtrio, Mousehold, and Phalanx prove that Pokemon can have biologically distinct components or even bodies. But if they exhibit enough lifestyle cooperation and always operate in proximity, well, I guess that makes one single individual Pokemon. Or at least an individual unit that's classified as a Pokemon. It's weird, but it's not at all a complaint. Just an interesting question that comes to mind for me. Lastly comes the design that I initially disliked at first glance, but similar to its base form has grown on me immensely. Here comes Archaludon, the long-awaited evolution to Dralidon. Or not so long awaited. As my friend Pragmagic pointed out, this is the first time ever we've gotten not 1 but 2 evolutions merely 1 generation after the introduction of the Pokemon. So that's a pretty exciting new precedent. I love how this Pokemon makes Dralidon's line feel a bit more complete, with a much larger and more detailed design that now resembles a bridge. Of course, many of us see these cross-beamed markings on its chest as a potential reference to classic steel bridges such as the Brooklyn Bridge. Unova reference? Unova remakes confirmed? I don't quite interpret it like that, as I see these Pokemon fitting in quite well right in Paldea, with the Iberian Peninsula home to plenty of suspension bridges like the 25 de Abril Bridge, or more accurately, the Guadiana International Bridge, which connects Spain and Portugal as a cable-stayed bridge. I'm not a science expert by any means, but I think this is a really neat reference because with suspension bridges, the cables ride freely across the towers, transmitting the load to the anchorages at either end. Meanwhile, in cable-stayed bridges, the cables are attached to the towers, which alone bear the load. So this is both a clever and subtle way to show how powerful Archaludon's tower-like vertical beams are, just like its pre-evolution, which is based on a vertical skyscraper. For this bridge Pokemon, its strongest points are its massive towers, not the cables or the roadway itself. Plus, this tower is now powerful and sharp enough not only to act as the connecting points for its electrical cables, which you can see in this form, but also as a potent lightning rod. It almost makes me wonder why this Pokemon isn't an electric type. Side note, when it folds up, why does it look like a stapler remover? I'm not the only one who notices that, right? I'm only asking because Dralidon kind of looks like a metallic lighter, and I'm now past the point of believing that it's a coincidence that both members of this evolutionary family bear resemblance to mundane metal objects alongside their much more imposing and giant main inspirations. And with that, those are pretty much all my scattered thoughts on these strange new Pokemon, all of which I think do make perfect sense and are lovely additions to the franchise that I can't wait to try out and meet. Which one of these three is your favorite? Let me know down below. Thanks to all my patrons, especially Guardian patron Dayton Wehse. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time for more content.